Okay, we're back again in the true stories in the life of Ronnie B. We were talking before about how I shot my brother and killed my brother. Well, that was the biggest knock in my life at that stage. But what happened is I met a young girl called Kathy in a place called Wakatani. I met her at a dance and we became quite friendly and were friends for a couple of years. But that seemed to help me with my getting over the shooting of my brother, because I was putting all my attention into Kathy. But anyway, she got married to another man and I married another woman, so that's the way life goes. And then I was a stock firm. I worked for a stock and station agency in Hamilton. And then I decided to become a sheep shearer. So I shore for 10 years. Until one day I went to a sales conference. And they taught us about positive thinking. I'd never heard of positive thinking. And they taught us about positive thinking. And they told us to read some books like Think and Grow Rich, The Magic of Believing, The Power of Positive Thinking, all this stuff. And I started reading these books and I started doing the exercises in the books. Well, within 4 years, I'd gone from being a sheep shearer to manager of a major finance company. Simply because I'd changed my attitude and the way I thought about things. And then I had this great job, you see. I was the manager of a major finance company. I had a company car and a house with a cheap mortgage, and I was the big shot in town. And one day, we were having a few drinks one Friday night, and tremendous fear had come across me. I had this tremendous fear come across me. And I didn't know what it was. I was that scared. I was shaking. I hid in the corner. And I just with the fear. I was sick. They took me to hospital. Couldn't do a thing with me. Because I was fearful. Like you never seen it before. I'd had a mental breakdown. And I went to the psychiatrist. And I said to the psychiatrist, I said, I've done some silly things. I know I've done some silly things and I've had this fear. What happened to me? He said, Ron, it's like this. We've all got a brain. And in our brain are certain juices that go through our brain. Now, if we get too much of the high juice, we get on a high. If we don't get enough juice, we get on a low. So we have highs and lows in life. Our emotions go high and low. And he said, yours got out of kilter. Oh, did it? And he said, I said, well, what caused it? He said, well, have you had any traumas in your life? And I said, yes, I have had major trauma. I shot my brother. Well, he said, that could have been the cause. So anyway, it was then, I'm just going to stop now because it's very emotional, this, and I want to come back to this because it's very emotional what happened next, okay? I'll just hold the line. Yeah, sorry about that. I just get a bit emotional sometimes and I've got to pull myself together, okay? So what were we talking about? We were talking about my mental breakdown. And I told you about the fear that came over me that night, on Friday night. But what I thought of was someone was coming to shoot me. I was scared. I thought there's someone coming around to the side of the house with a rifle to shoot me. And it was very scary. They couldn't do a thing with me, as I said. They went to hospital, but they couldn't do a thing with me. They sent me home, and someone said to me, why don't you try God, Ron? He can heal you. God had never heard of God before. So I said, oh, well, might give it a go. So I said to God, God, if you're real and you're out there, I said, help me. Because I've got a real problem here. I can't handle it. The guilt and the fear is killing me. Well, it was him, it was God that gave me the strength to get out of bed and go and see the psychiatrist. I would not have done that only for God. So since then I put all my faith in God. I became a believer. I gave my heart to God. I said, listen, you take over my life. I made a bloody mess of it. I can't do a thing with it. You see what you can do. So I always call on God now to do things. And even now with my cancer, it's God's responsibility. He knows when I'm going to die. It's his problem. He knows how to fix me. All I've got to do is pray to him every day. When I saw the psychiatrist, I said, has anybody else in the world got this bipolar disorder, he called it, or manic depression? Never heard of the words before. He said, oh yeah, Winston Churchill had it. Oh, very famous man, yes, Lady Diana Spencer, Elton John, famous musicians, actors, all these famous people have had experienced bipolar disorder or manic depression. So I felt better about that. I thought, well, okay, it's not just me, other people get it as well. So now I'm going to talk to you about another subject which relates back to my bipolar disorder. Right, so you go away now, have another cup of tea, and come back and I'll tell you about my next experience.